Hello, folks, and welcome back to the shuffling portion here of round five or round four, excuse me, of the regional championship here in Montreal, brought to you by Face to Face Games. I'm Dom Harvey. I'm here with Mason Clark, and we are here with Drew Christensen and Alexis Balderama, seeing two new decks that we haven't had on camera so far yet. So, Mono Red, just good old Half-Eye Hero and Manifold Mouse, the still an important litmus test in this standard format, up against all of mid range. So we've seen various like themed versions of this deck, like
Mhm.
pixie stuff, demon stuff. This is it dabbles in some of these things, but it's just like good black and white cards, just playing good, fair, honest Magic, allegedly.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just sort of playing Magic as people remember it from like the 2016 era. I've got a couple creatures, I've got some kill spells, I got a way to draw cards, and I've got a dream. And you know what? For some players, this has been a formula that has actually been very successful against some of the top decks in a way that might be a little surprising. Like if I showed you, having a bunch of Archfiend Ladrosses and some other Demon Matter cards, and your mana curve is like very clunked up at 3, you might be surprised to see that, it has been a deck that has been performing quite well, and we see here for Alex, it's been a solid performance so far this weekend at 2-1.
And Drew, a staple of Magic out west in BC, came agonizingly close to qualifying at an RC previously. In the small gap where the Canadian RC was split, there were one usually out west, one out east, and top four in that small window got an invite. Lost in the top 8 of one, so for maximum heartbreak. So still plenty of accolades alongside that, but I know really has the fire to get back on the PT and off to a decent start towards that so far.
Yeah, and speaking of a decent start, Swamp Go Mountain into Higher Claw, very in demand job. Verge.
Yeah,
Oh,
I think the claw has some job security for now, but if they keep printing more like half-eye heroes and so on, then I don't know. The competition is intense.
it really is. As speaking of intense here goes Everheart Challenger, an attack in here for 4 when you count the Higher Claw's trigger.
Some
And
lovely
you mentioned
whiteboarded 8th edition basic mountains for the people at home. A man
I,
of culture.
I like them. I think they're good. I just like that the mountain is kind of mountainy. Anointed Peacekeeper comes down, we get to reveal the hand, and we get to name any card we want. It doesn't have to be a card in hand. This is a really skill testing card. Manifold Mouse is going to be the name.
Yeah, but this is one of those hands where you see a lot of cards, and most, if not all of them, are going to be hard to beat. So you pick one and you you cross your fingers and hope for the best.
Hmm.
Now Witch Talker Frenzy in the middle. I mean, you would love to name that, but even with the extra attacks, I mean, Drew can play a third land, attack, and then I guess it would be 6 - 2 at that point. So you could lay it for one turn, but not forever. So maybe just delaying the mouse and stopping that from getting to work right now it makes more sense.
I think it's reasonable. I think it's also pretty reasonable just to like, if Drew wants to kill the priest to set up the manifold kick, it's going to be the whole turn, and maybe you have something like a Shieldred that can help. But he did have a higher claw that kind of went with it all, so that's going to be 5 damage. Both claws are triggering.
Frenzy takes down the Peacekeeper, and so now the mouse is still there, and Drew has the fourth land rolled up in the Soulstone Sanctuary for the perfect turn 4. And Alexis has Archery to the Dross, which is one of the draws to playing the kind of Demons package in decks like this. One of the big draws to black in general, just so big, so hard to kill, kills them quickly. But on a board like this, I don't think it's going to be enough.
Yeah, I don't think it will either. Especially now too that Manifold Mouse is kickable / playable for 2 mana. Drew taking a second to think. I really like this, making sure when you're in a kind of a commanding spot and you might be having to throw away a creature, just really think through all the options. It's surprisingly not done enough when we're playing these aggro decks.
I believe that is that Lightning Strike joining the mouse in hand for Drew. It's a red card. We know that much. Was it
Yeah, I
Emma
think it's
Challenger?
I think it's Emberheart Challenger and
Okay.
Manifold Mouse. So it's really tough because you can double strike the Emberheart. Yeah, you can also just do this. You don't even have to attack if you don't want to. Hits a mountain.
Yeah. So this guarantees 2 extra damage at least this turn because you get to pay the extra haster, and then Alexis, you will block the double striking mouse, still take 6 down to 6. So basically guaranteed lethal next turn.
Yeah, great point. And then also untap land, turn Soulstone on, making
Yeah.
it's normally your worst draw into a good one's pretty nice.
I
Gix's
mean,
command in hand though.
wow. Okay, so I mean, this is going to be a brutal turn. So blow up all of those and also attack for 8 and get a drain from each one of the things that died. So that's 8 more. So wait, that's
The 16
it's
or
not
down to
lethal,
2.
but it's really not that far off.
Yeah, and the +2/+2 life link is so massive here. 8 life just undoes. I mean, last turn we made an attack that's sort of, throwing away a guy in order to push damage. But yeah, you see Drew
Yeah.
had Burst Lightning. I mean, that would have been enough too if not for that Gix command. Wow. What a play.
Yeah, Gix's Command, another one of those cards that towards the end of its life in standard and would have rotated out if not for the extension to 3 years, but has a way of reminding you just how amazing it can be in spots like this when everything goes right.
Yep. And we have on screen here the mono red deck list. This is actually the one that won the American RC. Maybe the sideboard changed slightly and I'm missing something. My apologies if so. But the big thing here is 4 Magebane Lizards in the main deck.
Yeah, this is a declaration that, look, I know Prowess is the best deck and the most popular deck, and the matchup by itself is like pretty close, I think, but the best possible card for it is Mage Rain Lizard. So gonna play. We're gonna have 4 of those my 75, right? And if I'm really respecting this deck, why not just main deck those? Not dead against other people either, right? If you play against a control deck, let's say, if they have to play multiple non-creature spells to try and stabilize, you can ding them for those. But it's clear what that card is for, and it has one job and it's very good at it.
There he is. Very much is, excuse me. Meanwhile, looking at the other deck list here, let's pull up some demons on screen. See what we have over here. Third of the consoles, pretty high number in the sideboard. Pretty good card here. Same with Beza. Pest control, a little awkward in this matchup.
Yeah, it sometimes can be a nice answer to Half-Eye Hero or similar, or if Drew has a draw like that, right, where you curve a 1-drop into 2 drops, but that doesn't happen all that often, and if it's just an expensive way to kill one thing at sorcery speed, you can do better than that. So yeah, Authority is definitely coming in, Beza, all of the other white cards effectively. This is a kind of matchup they really help in.
Yep, definitely. And Dom, I'm a little interested. What is your thoughts on the white splasher? Because we've seen a lot of Orzhov demons and a lot of mono black demons, with seemingly black being more popular. But I'm curious, where does your head sort of land on this?
Yeah, it's not. I'm not going to call it free because it's definitely not. But the mana in standard, you've got a lot of good fixing there. And if you're not fully 2 colors, right? If you were trying to cast white 1-drops and black 1-drops, it might be a different story. But if you are mostly 1 color, splashing another color, then the mana's fine. It works for you. And the white cards in particular are high impact, and they also fix specific problems, right? So mono black demons really struggles against just the card type enchantments, right? But if you get to sideboard Loran and say 3 to 4 destroy evil, well, actually, you now have like a legitimate plan for those problems.
Definitely. Yeah, it's just so cool. I don't know. I just love that it's like there's so many different ways to sort of, build your potential decks. And it's like, should I be, mono black versus black white? Right. And then also I could be different colors and just I don't know, a lot of little things that go a long way. It's just a very awesome part of Magic here. As the players are shuffling up here for game number 2.
I mean, from Drew's side as well, he had phenomenal start in game 1 and was goldfishing almost effectively, right? But Alexis went off faster, if you like, with arching into into Gix's command, which honestly, anything into Gix's command would have been backbreaking there. But the style points of, oh, by the way, you take 8 because all of your stuff just died. Yeah, hard to top that, really.
Yeah, the old attack you for 16, gain 8 is tough for any deck to beat, let alone, the prowess, excuse me, the mono red deck here. As it looks like Drew's hand is a little land light, but has lots of threats. Okay, there's a Rockface Village hiding in there, so it is a 2-lander. Looks like Drew is keeping. One of the nice parts about these red decks in standard is they don't mind drawing, the extra couple of lands, right? In red decks of old, you draw your 5th land or so, you're kind of, defeated a lot of the time, right? But Burst Lightning, Emberheart Challenger, Offspring, Rockface Village, there's just a lot of things you want to play already that, don't mind about getting the 5th, even 6th land into play.
Yeah, the mono red deck, one virtue it has, honestly, is it has good mana, which is not something a lot of decks in this format can say. Hard to beat, one color, a few colorless lands, 18 mountains. But also, you got mana sinks, you got good lands, you got Soulstone Sanctuary, and then Rockface Village is just absolutely fantastic if you have the right type to support it, which this deck certainly does.
Yeah, Rockface Village has just been such a house every time I see that card get played. It's just so good. It's hard, to like get me off playing, 4 of that card anytime I want to put it in my deck. It's a real talk off the ledge moment, It's like, oh, how
Don't
bad
do it,
is it?
Mason.
Yeah. I'm playing my 3
Please
color
don't do
aggro
it.
deck, and I'm like, I don't know. I think I could fit in the 3rd Rockface, as we are going to see Heartfire Hero with Manifold Mouse as backup if this doesn't get answered. This was sort of the dominant curve we saw in standard before the release of Dragonstorm. Okay, we have the cut down for the Heartfire Hero, and we are going to go after the Heartfire Hero. We're not going to hit the Manifold Mouse. Always a contentious point.
Yeah, suggesting there's some, maybe another removal spell this turn just to minimize total damage being taken. But Drew has like Emberheart Challenger to force out that removal spell. I mean, either one of these is going to be a very appealing target or a necessary target.
Yeah, it looks like Alex let him Valiant on the Emberheart Challenger, hit a Sunspine Lynx.
Yeah, I didn't see the card exile. I think maybe he just gave the mouse itself double strike. I think sniffing out, okay, for Alexis, let the mouse live, must have removal, so I'm going to make sure I deal the most damage this turn through the removal spell.
No. It was the Sunspine Lynx that's an exile. That's why Alex 18. Yeah.
Interesting. Because I could see the rationale either way there, but
Yeah, I wonder if Alexis.
Well, now we have the same choice again, right? Here is Emberheart Challenger number 2.
And we have Go for the Third number 2. All right, Witchstalker Frenzy going in exile. And Go for the Third again on the Emberheart Challenger. Take 1. There's another Manifold Mouse in hand for Drew, along with a Sunspine Lynx.
At least one Sunspine Lynx, right?
Yeah, maybe it looks like Scorching Shot's gonna be the last card, so even something like a Shieldred here wouldn't be good. Soulstone Sanctuary passed the turn back. Did we draw the 3rd Emberheart Challenger? We did. All right, 3rd time's the charm. Valiant hit.
All this before.
Sunspine Lynx again.
Well, at least we're not drawing that. Some small consolation.
I'm in a time loop, Dom. As we're gonna pass the turn back, let's see if a different play happens this turn.
There's a beautiful symmetry there. Like all 3 link challengers side by side in the graveyard, and all 3 go for a raid next to each other too.
The cut down too. And all right, Core Claws Heist. Now the question is, are we gifting a card? All right, we are. So we're gonna get to keep whatever we hit. Okay, Witchstalker Frenzy was the pickup from the gift.
Manifold Lynx, Mouse, Frenzy, and
little Scorching Shot, little Witch.
Okay.
This is really interesting, Dom.
Yeah, so it's kind of dangerous if Drew's hand is basically what it is, right? Like two or more cards that are effectively 4 drops, where you can't take the thing that Drew wants the fourth land for, but you're also giving a card that gets closer to the fourth land. So you might feel obliged to just take the links, not even with any intention of casting it, because I mean it's symmetrical, right? But just to get that thing off the table altogether. But then if Drew just does find the fourth land, gets it off string the mouse, then that's not encouraging either.
Yeah. Now we do have the Witchtalker Frenzy up if the mouse attacks. Some. Okay, Higher Claw was the draw for turn. With my best friend Rockface Village, that lets you definitely get in for a little bit this turn, at least. Yeah. And Manifold's going to trigger target itself, give double strike, and I think Drew's thinking about. Okay. Yep. Gonna attack both. Get the trigger, and here's Witchtalker Frenzy. But who's it gonna take down?
Notably, if you think, Drew had a card like that, right? So Frenzy or Strike, something of that nature, then the heist gets even better because you get to like turn that card against him in a more direct way. So despite Drew playing, effectively the same threat every single turn, Alexis has kept up with that. He's had the removal every time. Has had to find some creative ways to get it sometimes, but you can't just have removal, right? You need a threat of your own right. You need some kind of card advantage engine, and that seems to be the missing piece at the moment.
Well, we just drew.
Until,
yeah. Unholy Annex playing on the Ritual Chamber side. Give us a demon.
so if Drew finally finds the fourth land now, then that Lynx is still going to be pretty terrifying, and then the Annex is going to be off the table in future. And there we see that white border at the back. There's a fourth land. So here's Lynx. Alexis will get nugged for 4.
Yeah, Drew takes 1. Greatness at any cost.
And this is part of the cost, right? Like we said, the splash isn't free. That's true in terms of just how your own mana functions, but also the other cards in the format, right? Lynx is the defining top end card in one of the best decks, and a nice clean mono black mana base with a bunch of swamps can weather that a lot more easily than your Verges and Caves of Koilos and so on.
All right, Anointed Peacekeeper is gonna get cast. Maybe thinking about Manifold Mouse. It's gonna see Scorching Shot as well. All right, gonna name the shot. Last card in hand was a land. That's gonna let us free up the chamber. Now we don't gain any life thanks to Sunspine Links, but we will still hit Drew for 2 and get a card.
Notably, though, the shot costs 2 more, but that just makes it cost 4. Drew has 4, so shot's still a consideration here. Or Screaming Nemesis. That's a nice one too.
Yeah, and you saw Drew slam it. Drew wants to get into the red zone with this Nemesis.
Is there anything else joining it though, do you think?
I don't know, because everything else is gonna die, right? Like that's the big issue. And you're not bluffing anything, so it's all face up. But I love this attack for 3.
Yeah, this makes a lot of sense. And even if Alexis kind of has to block, I think, because I mean the same attack's just happening next turn, so you may as well get it out of the way. But then your life gain is now very, very offline permanently.
All right, another Unholy Annex. Kind of great, actually. Just getting another 6/6.
So that's the hope, right? Is let's say you attack for 6, you make another 6/6, you just have lethal next turn if both of your 6/6s live. And then there's a lot of stuff you have to fade, but you only have to fade once, as opposed to you could do a few other things, but then maybe Drew has a few more draw steps to get it done.
It's interesting too, because like you could not attack, and then next turn, if you unlock the Annex, it's also lethal attacking with everybody, right? Because the Annexes would do 4, You would deal 6 or 12, excuse me, and then the 2 this turn presents lethal.
Hmm.
So you can even play. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously, if you kill a demon, that adds a turn clock, but you're gonna die if the demon dies the other way.
Yeah,
All
Alexis is
right.
going to send it.
Yeah. So there's also and this is the more unhinged line for sure, but you could also play this on the draw card mode and then have your activate soulstone up and draw 2 cards and just try to hit some more kill spells. I think I like this way more, but there's a lot of play to that turn. Get lost was the draw, Dom.
Oh, wow. So, I mean, Drew, depending on what he draws, he might think he just like drew the card that gets him across the line, only to find that Alexis found the way, rediscovered it, if you like, at just the right moment.
All right, Rockface Village was the draw for Drew. Drew's gonna lead on a Rockface Village return into the Manifold Mouse we've known about for a bit. It's gonna give it haste. Then it's gonna probably give itself double strike. Higher Claw's gonna ping Alex for 1. And it looks to be lethal if there wasn't this kill spell in hand. Oh no. Has Alex done the math wrong? Okay, never mind. I guess we were moving to first strike damage, I guess, is just double checking. Yeah, Drew knows he's dead. That was a wild match there, Dom.
Yeah, but a convincing victory for this also mid-range deck. Just kind of using the classic recipe against red aggro and getting the job done in with flying colors. So that was fast. We'll see if we can get you another match under our cameras here.